Hi, welcome, and thanks for joining me tonight. My name's Eleni, and I look forward to sharing with you some tips to help your teenage daughter to be a confident driver. I started my company Galmatic in 2007, and since then we've taught between 10 to 15,000 teenagers per year how to be more confident behind the wheel. We do this with our school programs, our hands-on interactive workshops, our how-to videos, our ebooks, and our online program, Know Your Car. These things help teenagers just be that little bit more confident and gives them the skills that perhaps as parents we've forgotten to share with them. Make sure that tonight you write any questions that you have down below, any ideas that you have, questions, pain points, what you find tricky about teaching your teenage daughter how to drive, and anything that you'd like us to give you more information on. We're here live tonight and we'll answer all of your questions. You can also chat with us on Messenger. We have live chat on our website, or feel free to contact us just by the comment section below. What I would like to cover tonight is 3 main tips that you can use when teaching your daughter how to drive. I've put these tips together around the main questions that we get asked in our workshops. With the thousands of teenagers we have taught, we've found the questions are all very similar and they revolve around 3 main topics. The first being, who should teach me how to drive? I don't know if my mum or dad are actually doing it correctly or if their techniques are a little old-fashioned. And if I have a driving instructor, how do I know if they're a good one? The second one is, I really want to be a little bit more hands-on when it comes to driving. I want to know what the car's doing, but I'm too nervous to pop the bonnet or have a look. And the third one is, if I'm on my own, I don't know what to do if something was to go wrong. They may ask it in different ways, but they're the 3 main areas that we see coming up over and over again. So that's what we're going to concentrate on tonight, so that you can share some of these tips with your teenagers as you're teaching them to drive. So let's look at the first one, which is driving instructor. Keep in mind, your kids have been watching you driving for 16 to 17 years. The way you hold the steering wheel, the way you interact with traffic, whether you do or don't get angry or upset when you're in a situation that you're uncomfortable with, whether you check the air in the tires, whether you eat while driving, whether you talk a lot on the phone while driving. They've been watching you. So first part is to maybe start changing some of your driving patterns if you don't think they're modeling the driving style you want your kids to have. Best way to actually know if you are doing the right thing, teaching good techniques, is to have a lesson. The Australian government has a fabulous initiative called Keys to Drive, and they provide a free driving lesson for you and your teenage learner. What happens is you actually go to the lesson with them. You do a little bit of a theory component, and then you actually get in the car for a practical session as well. They are teaching your teenager how to drive, but they're also teaching you techniques to use post that lesson when you're completing their driver training in their logbook. It's a great way for you just to brush up on how to teach. Not all of us are trainers, not all of us are teachers, but you are definitely in that teaching role when you are that responsible black licensed driver with your teenager. So Keys to Drive, I'll put it in the comments below so you can link straight through to the website. It's free and it's a great way to start that process. Driving instructors. How do you know if you've got a good driving instructor? Now, we have a fabulous video we've put together on that, but I've written down a few points so I don't forget what they are. Recommendations. You want to choose the right driving instructor from recommendations. Have your kids had friends that have already had a driving instructor? Is there one in your local area that's got good reviews? So recommendations is a great way so that you can see what the trainer's driving manner is like. You want your kids to really enjoy the experience. You don't want a driving instructor that is too serious, that has a personality that they clash with, that they don't enjoy. But you also don't want anyone that's too much fun, so they're too relaxed and don't concentrate on the lesson and are too busy interacting with the instructor. So you want to make sure they've got a good driving manner, and that's a great way to find out via recommendations. If you find after 1 or 2 lessons that your teenager doesn't enjoy the lessons, then it's time to change driving instructors. Don't keep persevering with the same one if they're not enjoying it. A driving plan. Now you've got your logbook, you'll have all of this advice, but a driving plan is something that you want to have with your teenager, and you want the driving instructor to provide you with one. Some instructors will take them from lesson to lesson, but what you want is one that'll say, here's what we're going to cover over this many lessons. You want to make sure they're driving in the rain, in the dark, in traffic. And I know a lot of the time is very stressful for you as the instructor, but you want to make sure you put them in those situations. You don't want them just ready for the exam, for the driving test. You want to have them ready to be road users when you're not in the car with them. Using a similar car to what they will drive. A lot of the time, we try and get them ready for the test in a nice, easy, small car that's easy to reverse park so that they get their license. But what we want to do is make sure that they're confident driving the car that they will be driving most of the time when they're first on their Ps. There's lots of time for them to learn how to drive many different vehicles, and we always recommend, if you can, please teach your teenagers how to drive a manual car as well. It's a fabulous life lesson, and once they learn, they'll always remember how to. But the car that they're going to drive, that's the one you want to watch them and train them in so that they feel really comfortable that very first time they put that P plate on their own and you're not in the car with them. And we have, with our Galmatic trainers, so we teach all of our workshops, and we have 6 full-time trainers. 2 of them over the years have been driving instructors as well. And one thing that they've mentioned that they don't ever get asked is, can you price match? If you find a driving instructor and you love the way they teach, they come with great recommendations from your community, but they're a little bit out of your price range, then perhaps why not ask, can you give me a package? Can you match the price that the other driving school's doing? They may say no, but it's worth the ask. Our instructor said no one ever used to ask them, and they were always happy to price match because they would really like to take kids onto a nice, safe driving journey. So always ask to see if you can get perhaps a price that's easy for you to afford. Now, when it comes to you as an instructor, you want to make sure that you're modeling it not just while you're teaching. It's very difficult for you to say, no, merge like this, don't do this, make sure you indicate, and you're not doing it when you're driving because they're still watching you even when you're driving as well. So it's just an extra little bit of pressure on you from now until the end of your driving journey because they're watching you and they're learning how to drive. Second question that we get asked all the time is, I'm really interested in cars, but I don't know anything. Now, often they've never seen you checking a tire pressure, popping the bonnet, doing a monthly check on your car. Perhaps you do and they just aren't there when you do it, or perhaps you're not doing it either. We've put together what we call the Galmatic 10-minute servo check. It's what we do when we're ever on national television. It's what we put in all of the magazine articles we've been featured in, and it's what we have in our online program and our school workshops. Now, it doesn't really take 10 minutes. It may only take 3 or 4, but we say 10 minutes because when you're first learning it, it's going to take you longer than normal. Now, what the servo check is all about is getting your kids confident to start thinking about their car as a machine and not just something they jump in and out of and don't care about. It's an expensive investment, especially if they're buying their first car. And what they want to do is start getting confident and empowered to understand how it works. What we always say is do it with them the first couple of times, model the behavior, and then get them doing each step while you watch them. The easiest thing to do is when you're going for fuel, maybe every second or third time, depending how often you get fuel, we say about once a month, pull up and then do your 10-minute servo check. That involves, firstly, cleaning out the cabin. Something you want to reiterate frequently, because teenagers often will use their car as a little mini home, especially if they're at work, or if they're going from school to home, or if they're going out to parties. It becomes a little bit of a mini bedroom for them. Clean cabin, everything needs to be in the boot or the glove box, because in an emergency brake, any sports bag, spare shoes, water bottles become flying objects and can become deadly in an emergency. Clean cabin, so get them to put everything in the boot. Keep some tote bags in the boot so they can just fill them out. We always say in the glove box, remember those little nappy bags? I know babies was a long time ago now, the little disposable nappy bags that you put dirty nappies in when you're out and about. We always say have a packet of those in the glove box. And then when you're just cleaning out the car, you can stick apple cores, wrappers, rubbish in that, and then just bin it when you're at the service station. So the nappy bags can be there throughout your driving during the week, and then you just tie it up, throw it out. So clean out the car. Pop the bonnet. Show them where the bonnet pop is. In our workshops, 90% of the kids that we're teaching, and they're 17 years old, don't know how to pop a bonnet. So show them where the lever is inside the car. If you don't know, watch some of our how-to videos and we'll show you where it is. Pop the lever, pop the bonnet. Now what you want them to do is firstly, just look and see what it looks like. Let them get comfortable with what an engine bay looks like. What you're looking for is to check the oil, to check the coolant, to put some water in the windscreen wiper, and also to check the hoses and just make sure everything looks like it's connected and in good working order. The first time they look, it's going to look very foreign. But then the second, third, fourth time, they're going to get familiar and they're going to notice when something looks different. They're going to make sure that their car never dries out and that it never overheats. They're very basic checks, but they're so important. Keeps their car going, stops them from breaking down at night on their own, but also it empowers them to start taking responsibility of their driving and their safety on the road. It's absolutely fabulous when we're teaching class and we pop that bonnet and we just see their eyes light up. We may have already taught some of your kids at school, but doing something once isn't going to solidify it in their mind. They need to do it repeatedly. So it's a good habit for you to get into, and then they can be watching you do it. They do it with you. And in our online courses, that's what we do. We teach them how to do it repetitively, so it just becomes a habit, much like putting fuel in the car does. So you've done an under bonnet, you've cleaned the inside, and now it's time just to drive over to where the air and the water is. What you want them to do is check their tire pressure. It is so important. It's such a simple task. We often forget to do it. When we ask our kids in our workshops that we teach, they say they've never seen, and very rarely do we have one or two in a class who say, oh yeah, my mum or dad do it regularly. So they don't realize the importance of it. It's going to save them fuel. It's going to look after the tire so you get more longevity out of the tire. But really importantly, it's going to make sure that in the event that they need to brake, an emergency brake, that the tires are going to do what they're meant to do and they're going to brake the car in time. Really, really important for them to know that it's so simple, doesn't cost them any money, the air is free, and just show them how to do it. Now we have some wonderful online tutorials on YouTube, on our website, that show you exactly how to do all of these things. So I'll make sure that I link them down below and you can just watch them with them, or let your kids watch them. If they say that they're on YouTube, say, no, you have to watch 2 of these before you can watch what else you like. So important they learn these basic things. Now, the third one is, I don't know what to do if something was to go wrong. Now, we often will say it's okay, they have roadside assistance. So many adults tell us, oh, I've bought them roadside assistance, so they're okay. What we're telling them when we say that is, here is your backup. It shouldn't be, here is your only option. They may have forgotten their phone. Their phone may be flat. They may be in an area with no service. Roadside might say, we're an hour and a half away. You want your kids to feel confident. Please, of course, have roadside assistance for them, but you still want them to have those skills. And if something were to go wrong, you want them to know who to call and what to do. What we do in our online program is we have a whole section of what to do in case of an accident. And in our program, we have our glove box guide. It's a little download they put onto their phone. They save it, shows them how to do the Galmatic 10-minute servo check, but it also gives them some steps in what to do in the case of an accident. Who should they call, what information to record, and just how to feel safe and confident that they can get out of that situation as quickly and safely as possible. It's an overwhelming, daunting task, I know, and I'd love to hear from you what you find the trickiest. Keep in mind, we're teaching your children, so any questions you have, please share them with us, and it's something that we can answer for you, but also start incorporating into some of our workshops. With all of our programs, our goal is the same as the nation's goal, which is a 0 road toll for all drivers, but especially teenagers, because they take up such a high proportion of the road deaths, road injuries, and trauma that we see on our roads. And keeping them safe behind the wheel, it helps them and it just builds their confidence and it makes them great drivers so that they can enjoy driving every time they get in the car, but especially those first few months of their L's, it's so daunting. And that's why we created all of the programs that we have. It's why we do our school workshops. So if we're not at your school, please send us your details below. We can send you all the information to forward to your school. We have our fabulous Know Your Car online program. It was designed with teenage girls in mind, and why all teenagers can do it, of course, boys and girls. Why we designed it specifically for girls is because over the years of teaching, we predominantly learned that very rarely do we, as adults, even think about teaching girls these things, and it's so important. They take up half of the drivers on the road are females, so it's so important that we empower both our boys and our girls. But this is why we've designed it specifically for girls. We're an all-girl crew, and so we've got a soft spot for female drivers. Our program it's all online, it's interactive, it's got video tutorials, a playbook, the glove box guide for their phone. We've got live chat, so they've got live support and lifetime access, and it's only $49. It's something fun, it's interactive, it gets them really engaged with the 10-minute servo check, knowing what to do in an accident, how to change a tire, so they actually know how to change a tire, and it gets them involved with their driving journey. Keep in touch with us. I'm going to link down the information for our online program. I'll also love to share with you our school workshops, so information you can pass on to your school. If you're a teacher, please get in touch with us so we can share that information. We have 70 or 80 how-to videos on YouTube and on our website that go over everything you need to know to teach your children to feel confident and just to get more comfortable with driving and understanding how your car works. We've got some fabulous ebooks as well, so they're just little bite-sized, easy to digest information, nothing boring, no boring jargon or black and white diagrams, just all interactive fun. But we'd love to see your children doing our program so that together we can create confident drivers that will take their driving and enjoy it, not just while they're on their Ps, but as adults as well. Thanks so much for your time tonight. I'd love to answer any of your questions. Again, my name's Eleni. Make sure that you cruise on over to our website, Galmatic. I'll link some details below, and I look forward to seeing your kids in one of our workshops. Bye.